So on last week's episode, I started my 30-day sobriety challenge with Bob Marrier.
I'm gonna make you cry.
You better have a sledgehammer.
I think I was drinking my sorrows. I do not want tequila. I hope I make it through the 30 days. Bob is the sobriety coach who became famous for helping Rob Ford kick the crack habit.
Every addiction, doesn't matter what you're addicted to, is a progressive illness.
Make sure you subscribe to our As Not Seen on TV YouTube channel. I'll be back at day 30 with Bob for a bit of a recap. In the meantime, meet my good friend Blake Yoon, former Mafia enforcer. And if you're wondering what is a Mafia enforcer, what do they do? You're about to find out.
I'd rather live a day as an eagle than a lifetime as a worm. And this maggot motherfucker rats me out, brings the DEA to me. We used to have to use newspapers to wipe our ass in there. So, when my front page came out, I'm wiping my ass with my own face. He brought the DA to me. Of course, I would kill him, because that way you can't testify against me, right? And I'll sue you or I'll kill you,
And just as an intro to this piece, this was my boss 20 years ago. Yeah, so last time I was talking to Blake, and I mean, he's in a third world country, does not tell most people where he is or where he's living for obvious reasons, considering his background of killing a lot of people for the Mafia, and he brings up the Tiger King. Like, that's insane.
You read about the, what was that big crazy Tiger King?
Tiger King, right? The one that's everywhere now?
Yeah, Tiger King.
Yeah.
And then you read about that gal, what's her name, with the one from Florida, where everybody thinks she killed her husband, and she's like, well, I thought they're gonna talk about the lions and the tigers, and now they're focused. So obviously she got duped into doing that thing, talking about all her personal shit, and now she's getting because they're gonna try and investigate all my stuff. Luckily, is on the record. So, I'm not worried about what she needs to worry about, because there's no statute of limitations on a 187, right?
The is a 187? He would always bring up these numbers that had to do with criminal charges or something to do with a case or a legal thing. And that's the thing, is like, you got these guys, man, they have been in and out of jail so long, so many times, so many court cases. They literally know as much as some of the lawyers. I remember he said, I need your help because I got a bad record. And I was like, oh, you got some financial issues? You got some bankruptcies? And he was like, no, my record, my prison record. I used to kill people for a living, but don't interrupt, you're confusing them. Like, all right, this is going to be a fun ride.
It depends on when you say career, are you talking about my legitimate career life or my illegitimate career life? Well, I've never forgot. I say to people all the time is that, I adopted the philosophy that of Genghis Khan, where there was supposedly a tribute to him, that I'd rather live a day as an eagle than a lifetime as a worm. I was always ready to jump in when anybody had a problem, since I had already been like a few years into robbing drug dealers. When drug dealers had issues, I would be like, even though I didn't need the money, or I wouldn't even get paid sometimes, I was with my guys. If I was with them, I would jump into any kind of problem, and I was known to be relied on. I got pinched in 1985 in Panama. I don't know if you remember me telling you this.
If someone says to you, I got pinched in 1985 in Panama, yeah, you remember it.
And I went to Carcel Modelo, which is a jail in Panama City. Noriega was in charge then. And they paraded me in front of the television and newspapers. And, the reason why I knew that is obvious because I see the cameras in my face, but we used to have to use newspapers to wipe our ass in there. So when my front page came out, I'm wiping my ass with my own face.
So, everyone during COVID was all worried about running out of toilet paper, right? I mean, resourceful. He didn't just wipe his ass with the newspaper. He used the one that his own face was on the cover.
And this maggot rats me out, brings the DEA to me on a controlled delivery in Jersey. The guy that brought the DEA to me, he was on a keep-away order, which means that they're never supposed to put me in the same room with him.
You might do that guy harm.
Well, yeah, he brought the DA to me. Of course, I would kill him, because that way he can't testify against me, right? They put him in a room with me. And I waited till they locked the room, and he was just like petrified. I pulled him into the John. I read him the riot act. I told him, you know, that my Colombian people were gonna whack this whole family. I mean, I was, you know, saying you better recant all that shit. I mean, you meet a lot of pieces of shit that, you know, that are legit guys. In fact, you know, I've been burned, you know, 100 times more by legit people than I ever been burned by guys that I was, you know, running around with. For instance, I'll sue you or I'll fucking kill you, you know? So that's why people that's why people fuck each other so much in the legitimate world.
I believe that. I've seen very similar things. The nicer the suit, the bigger the contract, the more lawyers, more likely you're going to get burned. Every time he's talking with someone who finds out about his past life as a mafia hitman, everyone has the same question. They bring up the Sopranos, the Casino movie, GoodFellas, you know, all these movies and TV shows, and they want to know, you know, is that legit? Is that really what it was like? And he loves that shit. He's like holding court. So here, watch this.
I was locked up in the state in California when Casino came out, and I had the rabbi bring that movie in because it came out and nobody's watched it, but they brought it in for me.
He's a mafia hitman in prison, and the rabbi brings him a copy of Casino. Nothing. Got nothing to say on that.
And so I watched it, and when I got to the end of Casino, I was telling them, I said, everything about this movie is spot on except one thing. And that is that, you know, when you're doing heavy work, there is like a Gallows humor.
Heavy work. That's great. Let's say, you know, when you're doing heavy work, I mean, it's talking about killing people, you know? That's the part that's just so real, but also like makes you just go like, and that would always be like in every conversation, all of a sudden you'd just be like having breakfast and he would say something and you realize, oh, that meant like killing people, you know? When you're doing heavy work, I mean, that's like, you know, taking out the garbage and shit or whatever, but he's talking about like killing people, you know? And then Gallows humor, like they'd be laughing and, you know, not taking it seriously.
It's the same thing in the military with cops. You know, when shit goes down and it gets, you know, nasty, guys aren't like angry really about it, you know, unless somebody is, you know, fighting back. But, you know, when they took the Spilotro brothers out to that cornfield in that scene, and they're acting like they're all fucking angry, it wouldn't have gone down like that. Those guys there would have been major Gallows humor.
Like laughing and having humor and fun over it.
Yeah, exactly. There would have been Gallows humor in that scene.
And he had these Blake-isms that were like these one-liners. And it would take him a lot more than one line to say it, but it really came down to like one line. And it said so much, and it had to do with like his personal experiences that are like unimaginable. None of us would ever like live through them, but you can all kind of relate to them. They all had to do with the same theme of like loyalty or, you know, friendship or, you know, honor and you know, so check these out. These are.
You took me out one time for my birthday. It's probably 20 years ago. What type of wine? You said the best for my friend, this steak, that, everything else. And then she said, the waitress said, you want, you know, water, tap water or bottled? And I said, bottled. And you looked at me and it was a Blake-ism and you go, bottled? And I go, yeah, you know, I don't like the tap water. Really? Well, let me tell you about the time I was in a Panama prison cell for a week, and the only water I got was when they opened the fire hose on me for a shower, and I drank water out of the toilet, and it went through this whole thing, and that's when the Blake-isms became. I never bought bottled water again after that. I was like, all right, man. You know, someone says, oh, they don't have Avion. I said, let me tell you about my friend from Panama. I remember you and I sitting down one time where we were not entirely aligned on money and a bonus. And again, it was 20 years ago. But I remember you actually said, okay, fine, here. And you gave me a bunch of money in an envelope. And
he gave me $19,000 in cash.
And you said, we'll go with that. So you agreed. And you said, no, I don't agree. And you handed me the envelope. And I remember saying, but then if you don't agree with what I'm saying and you don't think you owe me the money, why are you giving me the cash? And you said to me almost word for word, you said, Drew, in my previous life, when two people sit down and they disagree over money or anything important like this, it's in their best interest to agree when they get up and walk away. And I said, okay. And you said, so this time you get to be right. And I said, okay. I go, what happens next time we disagree? And you said, next time it's my turn to be right. That's what friends do. That's what partners do. You and I were having breakfast one time, a work breakfast in West Hollywood somewhere before the office opened. So-and-so was upset yesterday, you know, take him out for coffee, take him out for lunch, do this, this, and that. And I said, okay. And you said, yeah, you know, when someone's nervous, when someone has their first, you know, whatever, you don't want it, you want to build them up. said, okay. And then he said, yeah, just like, back in the day when somebody used to like, whack someone for the first time, we take them to Vegas, we get them drunk, we get them some girls, we have some fun, you keep the mood light so there's no stress. So, okay, I'll take him out for a muffin and coffee at the office.
He's got a ton of morals, ton of ethics, and none of the bad stuff ever rubbed off on me. It's not like I get caught up in that stuff. Or, just same old me.